want to hear from you. But first, my friends, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to be joined by Joseph Farah. He is the editor of WorldNetDaily, if not the premier, one of the premier conservative news sites in America. In particular, Joseph Farah has been leading the charge on the Obama birth certificate issue. He is a patriot. He is a man of courage. And he may be one of the only few honest journalists left in Washington, D.C.
That's right. He's the other honest guy.
Exactly. He's the other last honest man in Washington.
Jeff, I heard what you said. I'm not going to let you off the hook that easily. You said the last honest guy in Washington.
All right, one of the last honest guys in Washington.
Okay, we'll let it go.
Hey, Joseph, just before I get onto the whole birth certificate issue, because you had some columns last week that were just absolutely superb.
Oh, thank you.
What do you make of what do you make of his Ramadan statement about America having Islamic roots and Islam playing a fundamental role in our history and development? What do you make about his support for the Ground Zero Mosque? And apparently on Saturday, his backtracking from his Friday comments.
Well, I'll tell you, first the mosque. I mean, to me, it's just an outrage. People, obviously, who don't object to this, simply don't understand the nature of Islam, the history of Islam. This is what they do when they conquer territory. They build a mosque. It's a necessity. And I don't know if you got to hear the WABC interview that Aaron Klein did with the leader of Hamas yesterday. It's all over WorldNetDaily today and elsewhere. But, you know, he asked the leader of Hamas, you know, what do you think about this? And the leader of Hamas tells him, we have to build the mosque. We must build the mosque over and over again. Because these guys are honest, you know. Terrorists are honest. They tell you what they actually believe. And it is no coincidence, the location of that mosque. Somebody just gave me some research today that showed at least 20 other sites in southern Manhattan that, you know, are not immediately adjacent to that site. And, you know, there are properties available in southern Manhattan if that's what they need for a mosque. And I don't think there'd be very much objection except for that particular location. Now, what was the other question?
Joseph, what do you make of the president's decision, of the dear leader's decision, to so vigorously, vociferously, at least on Friday at the Ramadan dinner that he was, you know, hosting, to come out so strongly in support of the Ground Zero Mosque? Why did he do it? What was he thinking? I think he's digging his own political grave, to be quite honest with you. You know, this guy is taking increasingly positions that are totally, you know, unpopular with the American people. Latest polls I see on the mosque are, you know, about 2/3 of the American people strenuously object to the idea. They get it. They understand what this is about. It's not a coincidence that these guys want to build there. And it is very symbolic, not only to us, but to them. That is behind their motivation. And Obama, you know, it's just amazing to me that, you know, but then again, you know, you look at his Ramadan blessing and you see what he thinks Islam is. And it's nothing like what he thinks it is or says it is. I mean, in his Ramadan address, and of course, you know, to be fair to Obama, Bush made similar kinds of statements around Ramadan too. And I can say that I honestly reacted as vehemently against those as I did this one. But it does give you some perspective as to what he thinks about Islam. He says that it's, you know, he believes it's about justice and racial harmony and, you know, all the wonderful things, humanitarianism and so forth. That's not what Islam is about. And we have to recognize that historically Islam is about, like it or not, it is reality. It's about genocide. It's about genocide after genocide. Islam defines most of the conflicts that have taken place in the world over the last 1,300 years. We cannot escape that as a historical reality. Now, you know, I'm not aware that a reformation has taken place in Islam that is has curtailed those things. In fact, it's come home to the United States of America. And so, people are playing pretend here. That's what Obama is actually doing with his Ramadan blessing. He's playing a game of pretend. And it's sad, really, to see it.
Joseph, now you've been leading the charge. Really, I have to commend you on your courage. WorldNetDaily has really done a lot of groundbreaking investigative scoops on Obama's birth certificate issue. You've written on it quite extensively. And in one of your columns last week, quote, Obama has lost eligibility issue. That's the headline.
That's right.
42% of Americans are now, only 42% are believe that he was born in the United States. That means 58% believe either they're not sure or he wasn't born in the United States.
Well, it's worse than that, because 42% believe he was born in the United States. Now, that doesn't mean they believe Obama's story. That doesn't mean they believe he was born in Hawaii, to the parents, he claims. So we really, there's a lot of disconnect between the American public and what the media are putting out there. I mean, and it's not just the liberal media, Jeff. I got news for you. It's Bill O'Reilly and Glenn Beck and other people who have from day one poo-pooed the idea that there's anything we don't know about Barack Obama's birth.
Joseph, you anticipated my next question.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that so many, if you want to put them in the elite conservative media or the establishment conservative media, the Bill O'Reillys, the Glenn Becks, the Rush Limbaughs, why do they...
Rush is good.
No, he's not bad. I agree with you. Let's stick to Bill O'Reilly and Glenn Beck. Why is it that they refuse to even talk about the birth certificate?
No. They talk more about it than I do, Jeff.
Oh, I mean in terms of poo-pooing it. But I mean, they won't even consider it seriously.
Beck and O'Reilly are obsessed with this issue. They go on and on. They say the same thing. They point to the same two pieces of evidence that answer all their questions for them. And the two pieces of evidence are the certification of live birth, which I have to tell you is meaningless as documentary proof of anything. There are at least 4 ways you can get one of those things that doesn't require you to be born in Hawaii. And then you've got the newspaper announcements, which are triggered automatically by the creation of the certification of live birth. So that's not even additional evidence. That's just evidence of what we've already seen, if you get my meaning. And so these guys, I mean, it's remarkable to me. Now, they have been relatively quiet on this lately because, the evidence, when they see the polls show they're way out of the mainstream of American opinion. See, they were mimicking their colleagues who were mostly, very, very sympathetic to Obama and Democratic politics, and they thought, well, this is one I can agree with my colleagues on. What they missed was that there's been this growing division in the American people. We started polling on this issue at WorldNetDaily over 15 months ago. Our first poll astonished me because, you've got the media in lockstep, and our first poll 15 months ago showed that 50% of Americans were aware of the controversy, and an equal number of them wanted to see not only the birth certificate turned over, but they wanted to see all the records, the school records, the passport records, the travel records.
The health records, the medical records.
The whole laundry list. That was 15 months ago. Each successive poll done by other major news organizations have found that number rising each time until the culmination. The New York Times shocked itself, 6 weeks ago with its poll. And they completely misanalyzed the results, but they were astonished by it, too, when they saw over 50% of Americans skeptical about his nativity story.